Teraz pôjdu po sebe dvojica speakerov, čiže predstavím ich naraz a budú na seba nadväzovať. Patrícia Nečadová a Timo Perele. Patrícia je koordinátorkou projektov Erasmus Plus v Active Austria, viedenskej mimovládnej organizácie, ktorá sa zameriava na podporu aktívneho životného štýlu, medzikultúrneho porozumenia a aktívneho občianstva. Venuje sa aj výskumu, organizuje outdoorové podujatia a zameriava sa aj na prácu s mládežou a na rozvoj neformálneho vzdelávania. No a po nej pôjde Timo Perele. Timo prišiel z Fínska, je prezidentom Winter Cycling Federation, čo je medzinárodná organizácia, ktorá sa venuje skvalitňovaniu zimnej cyklistiky v komunitách po celom svete. Timo je tzv. Inžinierom mestského blahobytu, nadšeným pre celoročné aktívne mestá. Adela nám predstaví projekt trvalo udržateľného a inkluzívneho prístupu k športovým zariadeniam a Timo hneď po nej povie, aké sú možnosti pre pohyb ako kľúč k zdravšej detskej populácii. Nech sa páči.
Thank you for the invitation. It's very nice to be here and to have the opportunity to speak. So just a few words, a short introduction from me about our project that we were working on together with Winter Cycling Federation and with Cyklokvalite. Our project, Sustainable and Inclusive Access to Sport Practice, is a project supported by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. And our main goal was to promote and increase active travel among children and their parents, and especially to look at cycling as a way to reach venues for children's activities, and of course this way promote physical activity among children and make it more accessible for them. We focused on two main target groups. Those were low-income families who have few opportunities for children to participate in extracurricular activities, or if they are not in their area, it's difficult to get there, or they have other disadvantages that prevent them from doing it. And then families with, let's say, helicopter parents who mostly use cars as a means of transport to drive their kids to their extracurricular activities or even to schools. Then we also looked at how to increase awareness and emphasize the importance of securing local sport facilities, how to evaluate the accessibility of these facilities, and also services, urban infrastructure. And this way we intended to address stakeholders in public administrations and within service providers. Brief overview of our project that started in 2023 and will finish this month. Like I mentioned, it was a partnership between three countries, Slovakia, Austria, and Finland. And within the project, we managed to organize 3 study visits. First one was last year in Austria, where with support of our friend Alek Hagar, we had a very nice tour of Vienna, where we looked at some good practices of the city, how different sport facilities are accessible, and how the city promotes especially cycling as a means of active transport and mobility. The second visit was to Finland, where we managed to participate in the Velo Finland conference and also present our project there. And then we are here participating in this conference with pleasure. Within the project, we are creating 2 main publications. The first one, Timo will tell you more about. And then the second one, which is being developed right now, I believe representative from Cyklokvalite will give you more information about that. And of course, we try within the project, besides participating in this conference and in conference in Finland, to promote it as much as possible through newsletters, press releases, and reaching out to stakeholders. So once again, thank you for the opportunity to present this project, and now giving word to Timo to tell you more about the publication. Thank you.
So which one?
You do this way.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timo Perälä, and I promised I mention Oulu only once, and it's now. I'm from Oulu. So this is our first publication from this project, and well, you can download it. The address is up there, wintercycling.org/projects, and you should be able to download it from there, right, Petra? Yeah, it's over there. So there's 52 pages, and during this presentation, I think I don't have enough time to go into details of that. But it's being constructed in such way that each of these numbered titles here are chapters, and each chapter first tells about the benefits. For example, benefits of active urban design for children and adolescents. And after the benefits, the report tells about the best practices that we have found. So it's 52 pages, and I mostly will tell you about the recommendations during this presentation. So I urge you to go and download the report and have a look at it. You don't have to read it all. You can read the index, for example, the summary. It will already help quite a bit. Like in the previous presentation already, we know the big why we are doing this project. We have a global crisis. We could talk about pandemia of inactivity among children and adolescents. The same disease is among us in adult population as well. And we don't have that much of children who are being active in their everyday life. And the numbers are in many countries decreasing. We are in a situation where we have future generation entering the labor market, and they are not fit enough physically and mentally to work and recover from the everyday stress. So this is the big thing that we need to work on. We had otherwise as well. Many times this might come as a surprise for traffic engineers. There's life outside of school hours. Because many times when we, within cycling advocacy groups or traffic engineers, when we talk about children and adolescents cycling, we talk about school trips. Safe school trips, it's always about that, and nobody is really talking about after school hours, what happens there? What are the needs for kids after the school hours? There's a really nice sentence I borrowed here from one Norwegian study. We know everything about cars. We know everything about public transportation. We even know where the animals that might endanger car traffic are moving about. But we don't know where our children and adolescents are or what they would like to do in their leisure time. And I find this really sad and funny at the same time. The second big why we started this project is that actually we are talking about quite a big travel group. The leisure time activities, it's been supported by parents who are taxi drivers on their leisure time. And some research show that it can actually be a bigger travel group than school trips for children. The third reason why we started this is, well, it's our adults' fault. We have shaped our urban environments in such way that kids don't have the space to be active in their own neighborhood, on their own streets. You can't go there because it's dangerous, and we have taken fun out of physical activity in many places. And the build-up urban environment and sports service structure favors the use of private car quite a bit. So these are the three other big whys why we started this project. Okay, don't get me wrong. I like sports. I've been in a sport club almost my whole life. I have founded 2 sport clubs back in Finland. But the thing is that the world has changed quite a bit. The oldest sport clubs are about 200 years old now. And they always been kind of a competitive environment where the best athletes get all the attention. And the focus is on those children and athletes. And it has become a system, exclusive and a competitive system with a strong economical interest. And we adults, we keep supporting this system. We always ask kids, so what are you doing? What are your hobbies? What sports do you do? There's nothing wrong with that. But as the physical inactivity during the day has decreased and we have competitive system where most of the physical activity is high intensity activity. Most of the kids never recover from that physical stress. And that is a big problem. It creates a lot of overuse injuries, burn downs, and it's one of the main reasons why kids drop out from sport, because it's no more fun, it's too competitive. And we as adults, we are supporting this system quite a bit. The tendency is, as we want to make our kids be physically active somehow, we try to buy the service from the sport clubs, or somebody else has to do the job. Schools, sport clubs, but many times we are not looking into the mirror, because there is the actual reason for the inactivity of our children and adolescents. So, as an end result, we have this kind of active lifestyle image in our heads, but at the end of the day, we buy services, we teach kids and adolescents to go there by car. You need to drive somewhere to be active. And that's, for me, it's already kind of a stupid thing. And that does not support well-being on a public scale, in a bigger scale. Okay, the sporting system has developed, there's better coaches, but it favors only a small percentage of children and adolescents. This is a short summary survey we did in Finland during the project. We had a survey about leisure time activity trips, and we got more than 200 answers, mainly from Oulu region. Okay, that's the second time I mentioned Oulu, sorry about that. Then Vaasa, the city of Vaasa, where most of the answers came from, and then the capital region. I won't go into details, but it's a lot of trafficking of the kids during the leisure time. Parents spend quite a time and spend a lot of effort driving the kids to the hobbies. And that's already, if kids would do this distance, for example, in a one kid family, if on a weekly basis 60 kilometers would be done by bike, that would come up with already 4 hours or more physical activity within a week, which is almost the half of the recommendations, 40%, depends how fast you go. But then to the main question, how to really increase the physical activity of children and adolescents. And these are more or less the recommendation of our first publication. First of all, we would like to point out that organized competitive sport is not the solution for the pandemic of physical inactivity. They can do their share, and it requires a lot of cooperation and discussion with the sport industry. So they have already themselves know this, that the so-called material of the kids that enter the sport system is not that good. And they need to teach really basic stuff for our children, like running. Secondly, we definitely need new priorities how we share the urban space. Most of the area nowadays is for motor traffic. And there's a lot of good examples how reshaping our nearby environments can increase the physical inactivity of children and adolescents. There's a lot of chapters and a lot of research-based material within the report, so go and download it. Thirdly, we would emphasize the parental responsibility. So instead of buying services and waiting that somebody will resolve this crisis, we as parents should show example. We know from the research that if you are looking what are the factors that actually back up active lifestyle, number one is the example of parents. Then the rest follows. Fourthly, I know there's a lot of programs worldwide where so-called sports sampling in the neighborhoods is being financed by the governments. And I think this is really good tendency to go. Like organize sport and leisure time activities where people actually live. Because at the moment we have this funny system, there's a point on a map, maybe there's a football pitch or there's an ice hockey hall or whatever. A lot of people try to that destination to be physically active. How about instead of that, one instructor goes to the neighborhood and does the same thing? That would save a lot of money and a lot of time of the parents. And at the same time, it creates the feeling of community. People actually might know their neighbors, which is nowadays quite rare. And fifth, this is so-called low-hanging fruit. So we could do so much better in mobility management of leisure time activities. This picture is from Helsinki. There's one soccer club where every kid goes by foot or by bike to the trainings, or use public transportation if they have games a bit further away. It's a no-brainer. It's just like there's a new role within the club that somebody kind of thinks about these things and organizes the meeting points for the kids, and there might be a parent joining the kids for the ride. And what happened in that club, the kids, after a few weeks, they didn't want the adults to be there, which is the best scenario. They are on their own. And that's basically what the kids want. This is from the same experiment or from the same model from Helsinki. And we have pretty good research done in Finland. What kind of effects or impacts you might have when you actually give the kids the freedom to go on their own. Obviously, the urban environment needs to be safe enough. In Finland, in Nordic countries, in Netherlands, in Denmark, the network, the cycling network, pedestrian network, public transport network is good enough to let the kids go alone. But there's a lot of positive things that can happen. And many times, it's not the kids who are afraid of going there, it's the parents. And it's in the parents' head. Kids are really eager to do stuff on their own. This is from the same research. There was a trial of 4 months in Jyväskylä, city from the middle of Finland, where the kids were given the opportunity to go on their own to the practices. And there's a lot of good messages, I highlighted them with yellow, that you can read from there. Because this is what we try to do as adults. We think that it's our responsibility to pave the way for them. But by doing that way, we are not actually doing them a favor. Another example, kids, they grow socially. They take responsibility they feel pride about them being on their own. And this is one of the biggest things, the growth of the children. If we pave the way too much, I talk with a lot of coaches about the kids who are being driven and who spend time on a mobile phone all the way from home to the practices. And if that happens, they are just not ready for the practices either. So if you have the possibility to let your children go on their own, I strongly recommend that. So lastly, this is one of the research results from the report, and it's kind of a question for you. What are the most important places of physical activity for children and adolescents? This is a survey done in Finland. It's done every second year. It's a big survey among children between 7 and 15 years old. So here are the results. Number 1, cycling and pedestrian paths. 2, your own yard or friend's yard. Thirdly, genuine nature, and only the 4th most important place for physical activity is the money, where we spend most of the money as a society. So it kind of makes you think, are our priorities right? With that takeaway, I finish my presentation. It's kiitos. Onko kysymyksiä?
Ďakujeme. Máme nejaké otázky z publika?
Do we have any questions? Timo or Patrícia as well? No questions.
There are 2 groups of parents in my proximity. Some parents drive their kids everywhere, and the other group lets them go on their own, but they buy them iPhones or smart, that technologies that you mentioned. And I wonder what's worse. I mean, I would like my kid to go somewhere on her own. She's 8 years old, but I'm also a bit afraid that she might get lost and she won't manage on her own. So what would you suggest?
Yeah, we all are struggling with the same questions in our everyday lives, like what to do with the mobile phone, with the screen time, and how to get them active to go outside and do something. The problem is that there's nobody out there. All the kids are being driven somewhere, and if you, like I've been telling my children to go out and be active, but they always say that there's nobody there, and they are just on their own. And that's what we have done as a society. So it's not what one person or one adult can do. We are trying to come up with a kind of a model back in Finland, how to engage the community and how to reach out, how to find the key persons within the community and then get them together, make up a plan and start doing. I've actually done that in my community. I created this kind of a grassroots sport movement nearby. It's been going on for 6-7 years now. And the best outcome is the social impacts, like people knowing each other, not just your age group, but all children from different age groups, and adults who are living in the neighborhood, and the kids get to know the adults who live in the neighborhood. So it creates the feeling of community, security, and then you shouldn't probably be scared anymore to let your kid go because there's somebody. And we live nowadays in our bubbles, and that's the thing. Like we don't care about the others, we want just to concentrate on our life. But that's, at the end of the day, is creating ill-being for the whole society. So we need to come out of those bubbles, go out there, do stuff together.
How did you initiate the whole thing? Did you write emails to your neighbors, or how did you start the whole thing?
I was telling this story last night to Alec, and so yeah, my daughter came to the age that she wanted to go to sport practices. For some reason, she's really into sports. I don't know why. But I said, no, I'm not going to be another parent like sitting there by the field and watching you do stuff. I'd rather do stuff together with you. And in Finland, we probably have the best like nearby sport facilities in the world. Like there's, to every resident, there's something to do in few hundred meters. So I started doing stuff with her outside. Soon some friends joined because there's an adult doing something with a kid. What is this shit? Like this is something unheard of. They wanted to join. Parents tried to bring their kids to me. And I said, I'm not a daycare, like, no way. You have to come as well. And it kind of started being that we just got together and did something together. We didn't plan anything. Somebody brought a ball, then we played football. Somebody wanted to do something else, so they did. And eventually I started asking my friends within the sports sector that, hey, I know this one ex-NHL player, would you come to our neighborhood to play hockey with the kids? And he came, and there was a lot of people, and it kind of grew. And we were operating in 11 different areas in city of, the name I won't mention no more. But it was good fun. But then COVID came, and it kind of died, and now I'm trying to create a second kind of edition of that model with the help, hopefully, with the help of government of Finland.
Thanks for your playbook. Ďakujem veľmi pekne. Môžeme zatlieskať.